Welcome to program Certificate in Food and Nutrition. Today we will be talking about nutrition through life cycle about old age. Myself Dr. Shalini Kushwaha, Discipline of Nutritional Science, School of Continuing Education, Indira Gandhi National Open University, New Delhi. After studying this unit, you will be able to answer, you can explain the process of aging and the changes that occurs when we age. You can state the changes in nutrient requirements with advancing years. You can also identify the special needs of elderly and you can plan meals to meet the nutritional needs of the elderly. In the last unit, you have learned about the requirements of adults. You have observed that the requirement vary with occupation. You must have noticed that there were changes in appearance, mental outlook and body functions of people as they move from adulthood to middle age and then to old age. There is physiological, psychological, occupational changes in old age which affects on nutritional needs of the elderly. This must you have learned in earlier units of about the different old age stages. Aging and individual phenomena. There is a variation in aging among individual. Changes that occur with the age in people, like example, some lose their teeth and need dentures. Others complain about difficulties in digestion. The changes vary from one person to another. Aging is a continuous process. It starts at birth and continues throughout our life. The process is hastened in later year of life. Another thing you have noticed that no two persons of say 60 or 65 years age look alike. Some people look like 10 years younger and other few years older than they are. In other words, you can say that their actual age, which is also known as chronological age, does not coincide with their biological age. Age can be judged by activity, agility, endurance, muscle coordination and attitudes than by the number of years. Some of the factors which affect aging can be controlled by us. For instance, your good health selection to meet our body needs through youth, adulthood and middle age can be an asset. Leading an active life may help you to be agile and retain your muscle coordination. One of the factors which affects aging is heredity. If your parents suffered from many of the common illnesses of older people such as fatigue, slow recovery from illnesses, sleepless, worry and even overweight, it could be traced to poor food habits and a result poor nutritional state. You could avoid these handicaps and take a step forward towards a healthier you by changing your food habits. As you grow older, your body is the sum total of the care, use, misuse or neglect it has undergone. The illnesses or diseases that you may have suffered also leave their mark. If you suffered accidents, the cumulative effect of these on the body is felt in old age, like the infection like diarrhea, dysentery suffered due to environmental factor also leave their mark on certain systems of the body. How well the need of the body was met by food you ate throughout the years affects not only the aging process but also your resistance to different diseases. Since these factors vary from one person to another, there are greater variations in the nutrition and health status of old people than in young people. Now, let us talk about physiological changes in later years. Some changes occur in body, mind, social and economic status with age. Changes in body composition like decrease in muscle mass and increase in fat mass and visceral mass occurs in older age. There is decrease in muscle mass by 30% and muscle strength by 50% in this age. The digestive system undergoes considerable changes with aging. The amount of acid and digestive enzymes secreted by gastric glands also decreases. Thus, the digestion and absorption of the nutrients is decreased. About 10% of the elderly suffers from reduced secretion of hydrochloric acid, also called as gastric acid. This takes away the first line of defense of the body, since gastric acid acts as an antiseptic also for us. The movement of the alimentary tract becomes sluggish with age. Food stagnates, bowels do not move regularly and constipation is a common problem in elderly. When teeth fallen, decayed or functionless, food is often swallowed than chewed by the elderly members of the family. If they have poorly fitted dentures, they do not use these. They should be checked regularly to ensure proper chewing of food to help its utilization in the body. The ability to smell and note differences in taste reduces with age, which leads to decreased enjoyment of the food. Good diet and physical activity can help to decrease the complications of aging. Now, let us learn about nutrition related problems of old age people. First and most important problem mostly faced by the elderly is osteoporosis. You must have learned about osteoporosis in last chapters or units regarding calcium deficiency. There is an increased chance of bone fracture in osteoporosis. Exercise along with adequate intake of calcium and vitamin D helps in the prevention of osteoporosis. Obesity. In obesity there is consumption of calories and it is not decreased, yet requirements are decreased. Such obese people are more prone to diabetes and degenerative diseases. Excess intake of calories and sweets leads to obesity. Anemia. Third disease is anemia. It is caused by low dietary intake of iron rich foods and impaired absorption and blood loss. This all leads to anemia, which can be cured or prevented by taking enough or sufficient amount of iron and vitamin rich foods in their diet. Next is malnutrition. Poverty, inability to move around, chronic diseases, social isolation and lack of knowledge are the important causes of the malnutrition among elderly. Constipation, due to lack of exercise, low fiber diet and intake of insufficient fluid leads to the constipation among elderly peoples. Let's learn about nutritional needs of the elderly. What are these? According to the nutrient requirements for Indians 2020, the estimated energy requirement based on BMR and physical activity levels for sedentary adult men and women weighing 65 kg and 55 kg are 1699 kilocalories and 1477 kilocalories respectively, which is rounded off to 1700 kilocalorie for elderly men and 1500 kilocalorie for elderly women. The need of other nutrients is not altered except vitamin D and calcium. Protein requirements are also not changed with age, but dietary fat should meet 30 to 40% of total energy intake from fats. Saturated fat should provide not more than 10% of the total calories. Point should be noted that animal fat like ghee, butter, lard should be avoided since these are associated with higher incidence of atherosclerosis, and we should include vegetable oils such as groundnut oil, til and soya bean in the diet. Common salt requirement per day is based on water intake and it is about 1 gram per liter of the water. But elderly consume 5 to 10 grams salt daily and normal water intake may be only about 1 to 1.5 liter. So, it is advisable to reduce the salt intake and increase water intake. Those who suffer from blood pressure, heart or kidney diseases must further reduce their salt intake. Bone lose calcium and become lighter, as we have discussed earlier, leading to osteoporosis. As a result, these light bones break easily and fractures are very common in elderly. So, the RDA for elderly man and women for calcium has been set at 1200 milligram after adding 10% for age related bone loss. Iron deficiency is common among those elders who suffer from reduced gastric secretion of acid. Sources of iron are dals and leafy vegetables. We should also include vitamin C rich food products such as guava, amla, mosami, which helps in the absorption of iron in the body. The requirement for fiber and water is the same as in the adult life, and elderly should take adequate amount of food from group 3 and group 4 and drink sufficient amount of water to ensure proper utilization of foods and elimination of the waste. This you can see, this is the daily nutrient recommendations for elderly in India given by the ICMR-NIN in 2020. As you can see, energy requirement, it is about 1700 kilocalorie for men and 1500 kilocalorie for women. Fiber requirement is for men 30 grams and for women is 25 grams. Proteins requirement, RDAs are 54 grams and for women it is 46 grams. Vitamin A, it is 1000 micrograms for men and 840 micrograms for women. When we talk about vitamin B1, it is 1.4 milligram for men and also for women. For vitamin B2, it is 2.0 milligrams for men and 1.9 milligram for women. For niacin vitamin, it is 14 milligram for men and 11 milligram for women. For vitamin C, it is 80 milligram for men and 65 milligram for women. So, you can see same like vitamin B6, it is 1.9 milligram for men and same for the women. For folate requirement, it is 300 micrograms for men and 200 micrograms for women. Vitamin B12, again it is 2.2 micrograms for both men and women. Vitamin D requirement is 800 IU units for both men and women. Calcium requirement is also same 1200 milligrams for men and women. Likewise, magnesium 440 milligrams for men and 370 milligrams for women. Iron requirement for men is 19 milligram and same for the women. Then zinc, it's 17 milligrams for men and 13.2 milligrams for women. Then iodine, it's 140 micrograms for men and same for the women. So, this is the daily nutrient requirement recommendations by the ICMR NIN given in the year 2020. This is balanced diet for elderly men. As you can see, there are variations in the amount 60 to 69 years and above 70. So, cereal intake at the age of 60 to 69 years should be 265 grams, pulses 60 grams, milk 400 ml, roots and tubers 100 grams, green leafy vegetables 100 grams, other vegetables 200 grams, fruits 200 grams, sugars 20 and fats and oils 20 grams. And elderly man above 70 or more, it should be 225 grams of cereals, 40 grams for pulses, milk 400 ml, roots and tuber 100 grams, green leafy 100 grams, other vegetables 150 grams, fruits 200 grams, sugar 20 grams and fats and oil 20 grams. Now, let us learn about the balanced diet for elderly women. It is again different for 60 to 69 years and 70 and above years. For 60 to 69 years, cereal intake should be 180 grams, pulses 40 grams, milk 500 ml, roots and tuber 100 grams, green leafy vegetable 100 grams, other vegetables 100 grams, fruits 200 grams, sugar 20 grams and fats and oil also 20 grams. And for 70 and above, cereal intake should be 150 grams, pulses 30 grams, milk 450 ml, roots and tuber 50 grams, green leafy vegetable 100 grams and other vegetables 100 grams, fruits 200 grams, sugar 20 grams and fats and oil 20 grams. Let us talk about the special needs of elderly. A number of changes that affect the elderly people. The extent of these changes varies from one person to another. Food and nutritional care of the elderly has to be on an individual basis. It is good to remind that food is cheaper than drugs or any other medicine. So, proper food intake can be an insurance against ill health. Some of the special needs for the elderly are due to physical problems. Some of them lack teeth or have poorly fitting dentures and need foods which are soft cooked and easy to swallow. To ensure that they take sufficient amount of vegetables, these have to be pressure cooked and at times mashed and blended. Otherwise, they may tend to eat only rice and dal and have a nutritionally restricted diet. Ability to absorb and retain calcium from foods is also reduced with age because old people tend to be inactive and stay indoor. To ensure that calcium and phosphorus in the diet is properly absorbed and utilized, you should encourage your elderly relatives to take a walk in the sunlight. Increased physical activity and exposure to sunlight, maybe for work or recreation, decreases chances of getting osteoporosis. Another good source is roasted or ground nut ragi as a snack. When milk and milk products are not well tolerated, calcium may be taken in the form of calcium gluconate or lactate. There are socio-economic realities also which affects elderly. This is a stage of life when those who are working get retired. Due to retirement, there is generally a reduction in income and decreased physical activity. People should develop hobbies at an earlier stage to utilize their leisure hours. There is a change in the household step as the younger generation takes charge and former head has to play as a secondary role. These natural changes affect the food intake and food habits of the elderly. Ancillary factors: one should eat to live, not live to eat. As the elderly, people have a lot of time when they feel like eating many times a day. To take care of this, the total food needed in the daily day should be spaced out into smaller meals like 4 to 5 times a day. Resist temptation to eat fried and sweet foods because one's sluggish digestion system may get overloaded. Also need to drink a lot of water to help efficient movement of the food in the body. Person who look after the elderly needs to remember that food is one of the few enjoyment one has in old age. Therefore, one must pay attention to ensure that the atmosphere at meal time should be happy and relaxed. Extra attention must be paid to prepare soft foods for those with teeth problems. Remember, health is not a condition of matter but the of mind too. Anxiety and worries ruins digestion and health. You will notice changes of moods in the elderly. So, one should create happy and relaxed environment in the while having food. If you, the elderly citizen, has saved and provided for the needs of this stage, you can maintain your life style and enjoy the evening of your life, as Robert Browning has said in the Rabbi Ben Ezra, like grow old along with me, the best is yet to be, the last of life for which the first was made. So, let us talk about planning meals for elderly. In planning meals for the aged, you need to ensure that special needs are met. Some of them are: be sure to include foods from all the groups, be sure to include minimum number of servings of each food group, include fruits which supply vitamin C, pressure cook the foods to ensure soft texture, include milk, ragi, til or small fish to meet calcium needs, avoid fried foods, sweets, syrups, soft drinks, and include 5 to 6 glasses of water daily, and ensure happy and relaxed atmosphere at meal times. You can select group 1 and 2 foods as per pattern of your family. Select the vegetables and fruits according to seasonal availability and choice of the person. Since eating is a social event, you may have observed that person living tended to eat poorer diets than couples. You will be interested to know that in Western countries, they have met to solve this problem by serving at least 1 hot meals per day for the elderly in the community settings. Another program is Meals on Wheels, in which meal is delivered home for the elderly with the increase in nuclear pattern of the family. We may have to plan such services in the near future for our elderly citizens. So, let us sum up what we have learned. The effect of aging vary from one person to another. So, the changes in our body due to aging do not coincide with age. Body spends less energy as one grows older. Therefore, energy intake needs to be monitored to avoid overweight and underweight. Special care should be taken in planning and serving meals to the elderly, and the elderly need to plan their retirement and develop leisure activities to ensure a happy and healthy life at the end. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed this session.